Dry flies. Every trout fisherman dreams of catching the big fish on the dry fly at the right time of the year. And today I want to talk about some of my favorite dry flies that are good year round. Some of them are more seasonal, but we're going to cover 9 flies that you should always have in your box today. So let's start out here with this elk hair caddis. Now, there's a million colors that you can get this caddis in. You can get it in yellow, brown, tan. We'll just click on yellow so you can see. There's a lot of different versions. I just picked this cinnamon version here, and I've got another little green version down here as well, where you can see there's a lot of ways to tie this fly and a lot of ways to make it effective. But I've found that this fly is great in the fall. It's great in the early spring. It's great in the summer. It can really just be effective year-round, especially the summer and fall. This is one where if I don't know what to throw, but I see fish moving around on something on the surface, I tie on one of these flies, and it's really effective, especially in the fall. The dark colors, the green, it's really that green and that brown, those two together have been the most effective for me. So I love the elk hair caddis. That has been one of my favorites. And you can also tie this one. I've got another little tiny version. You can tie this for tiny little brook trout as well, and it's going to do really well too. That was just a yellow color there. Let's get into another one. This is one you have to have in your box, the blue wing olive. Now, this is more of a wintertime, early spring fly, but you have to have it. If you see fish rising in the wintertime in February, March, even April, parts of April as well, you have to have one of these if it's cold outside, because likely the fish are going to be biting it. And this is another version of it where you can have a tail. There's a lot of ways to tie it, and you don't have to overcomplicate it. This is not a hard fly to tie. It's just a little bit of green dubbing. You've got some wrap there as well with some feathers here, and just a gray tail gets the job done. This is a basic fly, but it's good because it works so well. It's just generally super effective all around. Next, we've got the Parachute Adams. This is one of the most famous flies in fly fishing. There's the Purple Haze, which is another version of this one. This is really a mayfly imitation, and there's a lot of good mayfly imitations, but this one just trumps it all for me. This is one that can be good out west, can be good in the Smokies where I am. It can be good on creeks, on large rivers, and there's a lot of ways to do it. So a lot of people love the Purple Haze, but what I like more is this. There's a blue version of this one you can tie. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, maybe you call this the Royal Parachute or something like that. We might call that one the Royal Adams here. But I love the blue. The blue really it works well for me. And some people also love this one where you can add a second top of hackle here and do kind of a horizontal wrap, but it's still that parachute form. So this is a little bit more similar to a female Adams, but it's called the Thunderhead. This one here, I couldn't find great pictures of it online. I looked hard here, but it's a really popular fly in the Smokies, and any guide will tell you that a Thunderhead is an essential one, especially for high alpine fishing. For some reason, the fish, they love the little bigger presentation of the Thunderhead. It's also got dual little hackle spears up top so you can see it well, and the Parachute is just a fly that you have to have in your box. It's a mayfly that is essential all times of the year, and if you just want to catch fish on dry flies, this is one that I end up throwing a lot. Next one, we can't talk about dry flies without talking about Chernobyl ants. These are great out west. They're great on wooded creeks, going for native high alpine fish, imitating grasshoppers. I just picked this color. There's a million colors here. There's pink color, this royal color, red, purple. Purple's a very famous one. It's really to each their own. I think this olive light color is really strong. The yellow color is really good in early spring, or kind of that late spring zone, and you see a lot of yellow bugs. But this is a fly that you have to have. And if you're going to pick one grasshopper, I started with the 4 that I did because they're kind of irreplaceable. If you're going to pick one grasshopper, hopper imitation kind of pattern, you go with the Chernobyl ant. And there's a lot of other ways to do this as well, similar things. So this is another one I have. This is, I think it's called some sort of, it's just some sort of hairy ant pattern. And this is a fly that I also use a lot as a fly on the surface, as an indicator for a nymph down below. The Chernobyl is the most popular dry dropper top fly really that you can use, because it's got that foam, and so it's going to stay on the surface super well. You don't always need to be applying floatant. It does its job really well, and when you see that thing drop, that means there's a fish usually on the other end if you're using it as an indicator. And a lot of times it might be cold, it might be raining, and you still might get fish to bite that top fly. So this is one, just because of its versatility as an indicator, it probably should be number one on this list, but we're talking just dry flies in terms of patterns, and this is one that you have to have in your box. I'd say at least a couple of colors here as well. A darker color, I really like this color, especially this little olive and red here, the royal combo, but that when the water's a little murkier so the fish can make it out on top. Some people like purple as well. Also, if you enjoy this, we know how the YouTube algorithm is these days. Subscribe so you don't miss anything else, and let me know what kinds of videos you guys want to see down below, because I would love to keep making fly fishing videos if you're going to watch them. So let's keep moving it on. In terms of rubber-legged creatures as well, the stimulator. So the stimulator is another very famous one. It's got kind of the same hackle pattern as the elk hair caddis, where it's got a hackle underneath on the body, and it's got that same angled hackle at the top. I really like this one. The elk hair is really good, but especially these with the rubber legs, I just find are really strong. And it's a different kind of rubber leg, a lot of times more of a spider-ish, just a different bug imitation. And this is one that you can use as a drop or as an indicator as well, but a really strong fly all around. And with that and the Chernobyl, you can cover a lot of bases. You can have this thing with yellow as well. Yellow is a color that I've got a lot of flies in, just as kind of a variant, as an alternate. This one here, well, I gotta flip the picture. So this is called the Jackade. You might not have seen this one, you might not have used this fly, but this is one that I absolutely love. We'll pull that picture back up here, and this is the version that I have. It's got a giant body. I mean, you can see, look how long this piece is here. Now you can make that how you want, but I love this fly. It's another mayfly imitation, and this is the best picture I could find. This is a guide out west that would tie these things, and through some connections, I have a few boxes at home. It's an awesome fly with another mayfly imitation that's great out west. You can tie them huge for fish that eat bigger flies, and it gets the job done. It's one that I always throw in my box if I'm seeing big flies on the water. That, throwing big stimulators, throwing big Jackades gets the fish excited. So for yellow flies, I threw this Adams variant in. So there's a lot of different parachute Adams. We saw that earlier one, the male Adams. This is a female Adams variant. So I've got a similar one here down below. And you can see there's kind of these two feathers. If you can see on mine, it's a little hard with this camera angle, but you can see there's kind of two pointers sticking up. That means it's a female Adams, and the hackle is also wrapped horizontally instead of that vertical pattern there like the other Adams is with the stem as well. So the visualization is a little trickier on these, but I find that yellow and the female Adams combo goes super well together. Any sort of yellow female Adams, when I'm seeing yellow bugs out, I traditionally do better than this than, say, other yellow bugs. And I'm not exactly sure why, but having female Adams is very good, and especially in this yellow color, it has been one of my favorite flies, and it's a springtime go-to for me. We're getting into a little bit more specialization springtime things, but these are flies that when there's a lot of fish biting on dry flies, they're often biting these things. So that's why I think it's so important to include these, and just to be prepared, because the dry fly, the whole thing is about matching the hatch here. So this is another one. This is the closest fly I could find online to really describe this one that I have here. But I've always grown up calling this one a forked tail. Let's see if we can get that tail better in that shot. So you can see it's kind of this black body, darker body with a little bit of horizontal wrapping, and then kind of that same split front image there where you've got those two pieces going off, just similar to the female Adams, but this is a dark color. This is a fly that I use when it's at dusk, when there's a lot of bugs coming on the water. A lot of times this one, it kind of imitates a gnat, but the visibility is way better. So when you can add a little bit of a post up top, when you can have that little female Adams front part there that sticks up where it's white and you can see it, that really makes the visibility a whole lot easier for this fly. And this is one, a lot of people have all kinds of hatch bugs. for late spring around the green drake season in the southeast. This is the biggest flies that we get in the southeast. But this is one that I've found that consistently works. It works in the evenings, especially at dusk. Anytime there's a big hatch, even in the wintertime, you can tie this thing on if you find a hatch. It just kind of imitates that gnat, and you can even run it as a double dry out west if you're looking for kind of a gnat, another fly like that. It's going to have even better visibility than that, whereas you're not just relying on your bigger dry fly to be your indicator rig for the smaller gnat. And then our last one here is the green drake parachute. There's a lot of ways to tie a green drake. I have often found that I see the parachute better. This is one that I have. It's a little lighter tan here, but it's the same kind of body where you've got your yellow top, you've got your parachute tail, your parachute body, and then just that little forked tail and that little coffin style. And I found that this one holds up better. A lot of times you get really, really aggressive fish going after these. So you want something that's big, but you want something that's going to hold up, and you want something that you can see. This parachute styling, this is part of the reason that I love the normal parachute so much, but the visibility is great. And a lot of these flies, I'm young and I can see pretty well, but in the dark, when things get wet, you want to be ready and you want to be attentive. And this green drake allows you to really do that. Now, there's a lot of other green drakes. Just pulling a couple out of my box here. Here's a really large one you can see with completely different pattern here. And maybe you might see some of these large green drake flies going around, but I found that the parachute, more as an attractor, has just been a better green drake for me. And also, when one of these large ones gets eaten and it gets waterlogged, it's not going to float. It's not going to retain its form. And when we're picking just essential flies, these are ones that are functional. These are ones that you can have in your box, you can use, you can beat up, you can tie a lot of them. None of these are particularly complicated to tie. Just a quick YouTube video on how to tie a parachute, how to tie a chubby Chernobyl, how to tie a female Adams or a blue wing olive. That can really get you a long way. And especially starting basic, the caddises, the blue wing olives, those are about as easy as it gets. This green drake is going to be way harder, but again, I just think that mayfly pattern and that little appeal up top with the parachute styling is the best part of this fly. So with that being said, that's going to do it for dry flies. I don't want to make this video too long, and if you want to see a more in-depth breakdown, seasonal dry fly fishing, maybe explain certain flies or how to do things better, I'm happy to come back here and give you some more. But hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon on Kellogg Sports HQ.